Oh, they just keep rolling along. Mario Ruiz, what a beautiful time it is to be black and gold. LAFC, another victory, another couple of shutouts along the way here, right? Big week.
Yep.
MLS and the MLS play. Of course, the shutout streak continues. They now have a shutout streak of 4,878. I'm kidding, but it's close. 575 minutes in all competitions, 480 minutes in MLS after a 1-0 victory over FC Dallas on the weekend in LA at BMO Stadium. Mario, what a good way to welcome in LAFC Plus. It's always nice to win, isn't it? I mean, it feels good.
Oh, yeah. 7 straight. That's 7 straight wins across all competitions, Davey. Yeah, the shutout streak continues as well. But coming up for LAFC, though, the international break, LAFC is going to lose a few players. You know, Copa America's coming up as well. So, and then plus 2 road games when we come back from this when we come back from this 2-week break, a couple of road games there. So, but yeah, LAFC sitting in second place in the West, just 3 points shy of RSL, who seems to not be stopping anytime soon as well. So it's going to be good.
No, we'll get into that for sure. Yeah, welcome to LAFC Plus. This is episode 16 of LAFC Plus. He is Mario Ruiz. I'm Dave Denholm. We're part of the English-speaking radio broadcast for LAFC. Welcome if you're just joining us. We appreciate you joining us. It's been a good run so far. We're having a lot of fun. We do this every week here for LAFC Plus. And each week, it just gets better and better, it seems, for LAFC. You mentioned a couple of possible little bumps in the road, not anything self-inflicted, but they have the week off. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Who knows how that changes, maybe how the rhythm's going. But let's get to that 1-0 win versus FC Dallas. It wasn't the best performance, I don't think, Mario, of the season. But as we always talk about, when you play well defensively, you got a good shot. You don't give up a goal, you don't lose. Exactly. I mean, it's just that simple, right? So they did play very well defensively against an FC Dallas team that really they came out pretty game in this one. They gave LAFC their best shot, which is no surprise.
Yeah, LAFC continues to be the best team at home in all of MLS this season. Collecting, get this one, Dave, 23 points out of a possible 27 points.
That'll work.
That's pretty good. Undefeated at BMO Stadium. That's going to get you a lot of points in the standings for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's like Real Madrid, Barcelona dominant at home, and they're at home. You know what I mean? Like that's yeah. You need to do that now in MLS. It seems like, and Mario, we've always talked about how tough it is to win on the road. There's some teams that are slipping at home a little bit. So the fact that LAFC is doing so well at home is really a good thing. Sometimes it's cyclical in MLS; things come and go. What I liked about this win is, and even Steve Cherundolo mentioned it and talked a little bit about it, I think, they were in control. Like, this is a nice victory, a team that needed something, right? They went to LA Galaxy on that Wednesday, just a few days before. They stay in Southern California. They get bumped by LA Galaxy 3-1. So they're still desperate. They've only got 3 wins on the season. It's not any easier to go into BMO Stadium, certainly the toughest place to play in MLS right now, and try to get 3 points there. They gave it a good shot. Like I said, it wasn't a lack of trying by FC Dallas. Martin Paz made some good saves. It wasn't as if LAFC didn't have chances, but maybe not the sharpest game offensively for the black and gold. But we got to play this one, Mario. When they needed it, this was a thing of beauty. Good ball movement here by LAFC. Iliad forward to Bogus in the middle. Good turn. Bogus, great pass in the middle. Ball making the right. Did he? Shot! Did he beat the back line? Bogus, 7 minutes in! Goal, LAFC! Oh, what a play! Bogus from the defense and then into Buanga for the goal.
Yeah, now, you see Denis right there. Yeah. Denis just like let off a bunch of steam after he scored that goal, because leading up to that, he seemed very frustrated. He was stomping his feet. He seemed very, very mad. Something was frustrating him. And when he got that goal, it was just like he just let off a bunch of steam off of his chest. It was a great feeling for him.
Yeah, we like to keep it real here on LAFC Plus. It hasn't been, the last couple of matches weren't his sharpest. Now, he's still scoring. He's got 10 goals. But just little things, and he is being double teamed and triple teamed a lot. That's another bottom line. I mean, look, Denis, you can't get through 3 men every time. He does a lot, amazingly. I would love to see a stat on. I would love to see a stat on how many times people beat double teams by themselves. He's got to be right up there in the league, right? I mean, this guy, He rips.
How many people split double teams in the league because he does that all the time?
Yeah, they're throwing at him now, and they need to, frankly, and that's how. And maybe he's getting a little frustrated at that. But that you make adjustments on that, it'll all even out, and he's still scoring, ironically. So I think maybe he was a little frustrated, Mario. I think you're right. Just and not so much with the team, of course, they're winning, but he's still a guy who, he'll feed the ball to other people. He's having one of his best seasons in terms of passing the football. So he's not selfish, but he still wants the goals. He still wants to perform at a certain level and create and make things happen for not only for him but his teammates. And maybe a little frustration there, but 3 points, move along. It was a tricky game to me, Mario, coming off the back-to-back. Thankfully, both at home is nice, but the back-to-back going into this break, dangerous, bad team, team struggling. That's sometimes a recipe for a really bad performance, and maybe you get a 0-0 out of it, but they found a way with that goal, and credit Mateusz Bogusz, Mario. We talked about him a lot, certainly, but
yes.
Oh man, his game is he's getting better and better. So
Bogusz and Denis as of late, right? They've been contributing to goals the last few games here, and they've really been impacting that offense. And the team is just believing right now in everything they're doing, especially their leader, Steve Cherundolo, right now. I think we all know how important defense is to Steve, and the defensive side is looking amazing right now, unbeatable. And, it's just LAFC's defense just can't get any better, right? So that keeps them in the games. And when you have a defense like that, you're always going to have a chance to pull out the maximum, right? The maximum points. And I got a chance to talk to Ilie after the match, and he talked a lot about just the belief that this team has right now.
Ilie, that's 7 straight wins across all competitions, another shutout win. How would you describe the rhythm that you guys are in right now?
We are staying positive, believing in the work that we put in week after week, and we locked in during games. There is no secret. We've been doing this for 2 years so far under Steve management, so it's all about belief and willingness to do the things right, or the right things. But again, here at home, we are stronger. We feel the support from every corner in this building, and I would say that if we keep doing this, we're going to be on top of the table at the end of the season.
Love hearing that. Great interview after the match by Mario on 710 ESPN and the ESPN LA app. It's that belief he's talking about, Mario. Even earlier in the year, 4-1 to start on the road.
Yeah.
A couple of weird ways that those games went down. And people were frustrated, but they don't ever doubt themselves at LAFC, right? This team is never going to feel like they can't win. That's the bottom line.
Right. Yeah, and that defense, just not giving opponents any chances for the opponents. And the defense just, keeps them in the game. And that's 6 straight clean sheets now for LAFC. So that's
absurd.
Dominance right there.
It really is.
Hugo Lloris is just picking up those clean sheets and, as expected from the legend.
Yeah, absolutely. 7 on the season now for him. I'm looking up some stats here and going back to who's, obviously the last time anybody scored in MLS was the San Jose game where they, took it on the chin, bottom line. And then there was a goal allowed against Las Vegas Lights as well. So it had the goal allowed in that match, but just dominant since, it was about the 60-minute mark against San Jose, which, again, that game was kind of in hand for the Earthquakes, to be fair. So it wasn't like LAFC were going to come roaring back, but they shut it down that final 30 minutes. And since then, as you said, just blank, just completely dominant. 5 straight shutouts in league play. That's unheard of, really. I mean,
and LAFC are just 5 points now behind Inter Miami in the race for the Supporters Shield, creeping up on Inter Miami. And that's with 2 games in hand on Inter Miami. So things are looking good right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You get 2 wins in those matches, and you're ahead of Inter Miami on points. But Cincinnati's right there, too, and RSL, our own division. We will break those down a little further. Those are definitely topics to talk about here on LAFC Plus this week. We do want to move on to Futbol Fit Check. We got a kind of a cool Futbol Fit Check for this one, Mario. You lead the way here.
Yeah, actually, Dave, you spotted this one first. You were telling me about this one here. This is Ryan Hollingshead. You said, hey, Mario, go check out Ryan's Ryan's t-shirt there that he was wearing. And matter of fact, we're gonna do like a t-shirt t-shirt edition of Futbol Fit Check, because I got a few different players that were wearing some pretty cool t-shirts around the league. So this one right here is Ryan, though. He comes through repping for the Dodgers with this cool tee. I mean, whoever made this one, I gotta know. Please let me know if anybody knows who makes this one, because this looks kind of like could be like a custom piece, which is kind of cool to get those custom pieces. But I like the two pics of Ohtani and Mookie here.
Yeah.
Kind of like they're doing like the same expression, the same scream. And then it's got Kershaw on there, Freeman's on there. So any Dodger fans gotta love this one. Gotta love Ryan repping for the Dodger blue. That's cool.
Looks tremendous, no doubt. You would look great in this. Every time we do a Futbol Fit Check, I try to think of the outfit on you and I. Of course, we're different people, needless to say. If you're wondering, Mario in shape, good, good looking guy in shape. I'm less than in shape. Let's just say that. I got a few pounds on you, and you would look fantastic in this, like Ryan does. Look at the guy, the skinny jeans going, everything's looking good, right? This guy, tall.
Mm-hmm.
If I wore this T-shirt, those two, Ohtani and Betts, are in the wrong spot. Let's just say that for me. This would not be pretty. So this is definitely, if you're wondering, if you're listening, or you're not watching on YouTube, this is a skinny man's outfit. They look tremendous in it. If you're like me and maybe you have a few pounds on some people, you're getting older. Yeah, probably not the best look for you. That's all I'm going to say. But Ryan,
all right, let's
and then some.
Yeah, well, let's keep it moving on here to Kevin Kelsey. Kevin Kelsey is a guy that we've been talking about here on LAFC Plus, because when we go around the league, we see that this guy is doing big things. He's cooking up so far at FC Cincinnati. And we just love this guy playing with Lucho Acosta over there at Cincinnati. But he's also doing it with the fashion too now. Because I see this t-shirt here that he has. This is a Casablanca t-shirt, which is like a newer, higher fashion brand from Paris. And it's getting popular as of late. And it's a little bit out of my budget, but anyway, we'll digress from that. But this tells me that Kelsey stays up on his fashion game, which I love. I love that in a player, especially a new player to the league that's doing well. I love it.
Yeah, very interesting. I kind of dig the t-shirt too. Basic somewhat, but
yeah, oversized, basic tee, but it says Casa Racing. Sometimes simplicity, can go far.
You had me at oversized. Very good.
Let's see if you like this one, though, Dave. This is Justin Glad here. He has a t-shirt with a bunch of like retro cell phones here.
Sure.
Yeah, and on the cell phones, I don't know if you can see, but it says ice cream on there.
Oh, no.
Ice cream. So ice cream's a pretty cool brand. Okay. And so I like that. It's simple, but it was going with the theme of t-shirts that were being worn around the league in the tunnels there for this weekend. It's kind of cool. And Dave, sometimes you have t-shirts that have ice cream on there too, but it's actually real chocolate ice cream because you spilled on yourself after Italian food when you go get Italian food.
Cold-blooded but true. Yes. Thanks for spilling my chisme here. I appreciate it. But what I like about this one, actually, it sounds crazy, but he looks good in t-shirts because he's got the left arm sleeved up, right? The tats.
Yeah.
Looks good, though. It actually fits and looks good with the t-shirts here, and I like the kicks and everything. They're looking good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very stylish.
Yeah. There you go. That's a little Futbol Fit Check t-shirt edition.
Futbol Fit Check, the t-shirt edition has been one of my favorites. Comment down below, or if you're on YouTube, you can comment easily. Give us a thumbs up. Comment on other places where you're listening to this pod, potentially. If you're not watching it, let us know. Or you can hit us up on social media at Talk Soccer for me on Twitter. Mario, where are you at?
I am at I am Mario Ruiz, at I am Mario Ruiz on all the social platforms. And Dave, I want to get into this Juan Gabriel tifo. Did you see the tifo that was at BMO Stadium? Really cool.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This one got me right here. Respect to the 3252 for the Juan Gabriel tifo on Pride Night this weekend. I mean, because growing up as a kid, I remember my parents, they had the cassette. They had the cassette of Juan Gabriel, like all the greatest hits. So that's how I became a huge fan of Juan Gabriel, one of the best, Mexican singer-songwriters of all time. And he actually has this song called Noa Noa. And in that song, he has a line where he says, Vamos a bailar, which translates to "We are gonna go dance."
Go dance, sure.
And then the 3252 switched it up to "Vamos a ganar," as you see right here in the tifo, and that translates translates to "we are gonna win." So I thought that was cool. And then the whole stadium was just loving it as it was going up. It was rising up, and then they had the music in the background. The stadium's playing the music. It was a whole vibe at BMO Stadium on Saturday night with that.
The crowd did love it, no doubt about it. You're right about that. And they always, the crowd also, 32-52 obviously responsible for the tifos. They do a great job, but the rest of the crowd is anxious for them. Like it gets a little intense. Like when they're about to roll out the new tifo, the rest of the crowd is on edge, and excited for it. So that's very cool. Yeah, it's great. They do great work. This is obviously right up there. This is one of the best. I love that. I love the bullhorn has 32-52 on it. That is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Great stuff. Speaking of awesome, we move on to part of our history. It's a segment we like to look at other players who have played for LAFC. Pretty easy enough to figure out. And I wanted to mention him, Mario. We've been seeing him in MLS, obviously, for years. Even before LAFC, he spent a year with Sporting Kansas City. But hats off to Latif Blessing, still getting it done. Houston Dynamo didn't score this most recent match coming off the bench on Saturday, but in the two previous had a goal in each. And he's been playing. He's over 200 matches in MLS. Been with us. He was with us from 2018 to 2022, 5 seasons with the Black and Gold. I can't believe that already. Wow. Latif played 145 MLS regular season games with LAFC, a handful in the playoffs, of course, too. 14 goals, 23 assists for the Black and Gold in league play. Still getting it done, And the thing about it is, too, we always talk about this on the show. Mario and I even reminisce about this stuff off the air. Like, as the years roll on and they're starting to, we met Latif when he was a kid, right?
Yeah.
Felt like, anyway. I mean, he's still young. I mean, he's still only, 27 maybe? Somewhere around there, 28. He's right into his prime in terms of athletic, whatever. But we met these guys when they're so young, and he just grew up before our eyes, essentially. But give us something about it, Latif, Mario. Always smiling, always having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, just what a milestone, right, for Latif. 200 MLS appearances. That's nothing to just sneeze at, Dave. I mean, that's a lot of hard work. That's a lot of dedication. This is professional football. You're playing against someone like the toughest competitors in your sport, and to get 200 appearances in any professional sport, that's quite impressive for sure. And he's bounced around the league a little bit after LAFC for a little bit, but everywhere he goes, he's a fan favorite. They love him. And that volley that he had in a couple games ago was just amazing. So happy to hit. I think he hit it with the left too. So very impressive on that volley goal that he had a couple of days ago.
Oh, yeah. And it's funny you mention that. Everywhere he goes, they love him because Latif understands something. He understands that he's in the entertainment business. Now, I'm not saying he's fake about it. He loves people, right? He just does. He loves his teammates.
To dance too.
Yeah, his teammates. He loves life. His teammates love him. He gets along great with everybody. He's right in the middle of the good trouble, joking around at stuff like that. He's right in the middle of it. Where it's not. He's not a problem that way. His teammates love him, but it is. It's he knows it's entertainment, so he knows the fans are a big part of that, and he's always been more than ready and willing to be, I guess, supportive of the fans too, as they support him. And just, really just a good guy. Always had fun being around him. Wish him well. He has gone, New England Revolution he was with Sporting Kansas City for a season before we picked him up under Bob Bradley in the expansion year. He was plopped right in the middle of our expansion season, right from day one. He was a huge part of the Black and Gold. And now on to Houston and, like I said, the Revolution, Toronto for just a short bit. He didn't really stay there too long, but yeah, we wish him nothing but the best, except for when he plays us. We've got a couple of matches coming up with Houston Dynamo. It'll be interesting to see him. It was weird to see him when he was with the Revolution playing against LAFC, because we don't play them very often, obviously, in the Eastern Conference. And he came in. We happened to handle him pretty well that night. The Revolution didn't have much of a chance that night, so he wasn't part of a winning team, thankfully. But, yeah, it was fun to see him. But it was kind of, it's always kind of different to see those guys come, especially – look, I know there's guys who aren't around for a long time. They're still part of our history, big part of any professional organization. But Latif, like I said, from day one, right, when we were at UCLA, those first few practices, he stood out, as a guy who we were.
Does your dad still follow him around the league?
He's my dad's favorite MLS LAFC player of all time, certainly. I don't know if, my dad is a very he's taught me well in the sense that we're diehard Cleveland sports fans. That's where I grew up, whatever. and he loves LAFC now. Obviously, he's black and gold. It's becoming more and more his favorite, like even above other sports, ironically. And he's, been around. He hasn't been around soccer much at all in his life. And he's the kind of guy, though, that once a player leaves, usually it's like, well, okay, like you like the guy. He's a good player, but whatever. I'm black and gold. You're sticking whatever. But he loves Latif. So there's no two ways about that. So that's been one that
we all do.
And it's funny you mentioned how he, diminutive in a sense. He's not a big guy, right? He's not like, but he does not, he doesn't get pushed around. Like every time I would do stats, like I do my sheets for every game, I'm getting my stats ready. And whenever I go to the MLS stats, you always look up fouls suffered and fouls committed, right? Latif in both categories, when he was a regular starter, like 30 plus game, he was always near or at the top in MLS in both categories. He would throw that weight around and he would get fouled a ton in that midfield. And it was huge part.
Yeah, that size. I mean, to be that size and be playing a professional sport amongst some of the most fit athletes in the world.
Yeah,
that's so impressive. Yeah. I mean, his shoe size, I think, was like a 7 or something, 6.5 or something like that. And I'm not joking.
Does he weigh 140 pounds? I mean, really? Like these guys are in such great shape anyway. And he's not the tallest guy. Like, and he throws it around. He's built though. I mean, you don't push him around. So that's, Latif doesn't mess around out there. We love to see that. Around the rest of MLS, Mario, it was a big weekend, really. You had the Wednesday, Saturday with a lot of teams participating. I got a question to ask. It was a tough loss for the Galaxy. We're not going to cry about that. Certainly no tears shed over that one. That was nice. But can the Chicago Fire build on that? I mean, this is a big win for them. Yeah, it's at home. You would expect them to be better, but they let Xherdan Shaqiri go to Switzerland for the Euros early. Go ahead. We're not doing anything anyway. You're not playing that good for us anyway. Get out of here. And they pull out a big win against a tough team, a tough team to beat. That was only the third loss of the season for Galaxy. Is this the kind of thing that we're seeing a little turnaround for Chicago, or is it just a blip?
That is a huge confidence builder in my eyes. I mean, the Galaxy losing to Chicago had to be, I think, probably the upset of the entire weekend.
Yeah.
14th place Chicago Fire pulling that off. But yes, I do believe Chicago can build off of that big win over the Galaxy. And I was looking at the Chicago's upcoming schedule. And for their next 5 matches, they have they're like winnable. They're very winnable games, Dave.
Yeah.
They face Toronto, Orlando, Seattle, Philly, and San Jose. Good chance for them to pick up some points right there, I believe, Dave. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, certainly teams that can be beat. I think it's good that 3 of those are in the East. They need to start especially beating the Eastern Conference teams. You're only playing a handful of games against the West. Yeah, you want to win them. San Jose, very winnable game. You would think Chicago would feel like they can get a win. You're right. But you got to beat those teams in the East too, especially. Those are 6 pointers. And Chicago's at the foot of the table. I mean, they're bad. Like they're 14th for a reason, as Mario said. But they're now 5 points clear of New England, who got a win. Actually, the Revolution are up in double digits on points finally. But so they're still looking at the bottom more so than the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. But they're only 4 points out of the playoffs too. The East and the West. And I want to say this right now. This is the next thing we're talking about a little bit. And it does kind of relate to the Fire in that there's a lot of separation happening at the top of these conferences now, if you notice. I mean the top 3 or 4. Now, all of a sudden, there's a lot of average in MLS. There's a lot of average teams. There's a lot of bad teams right now. But the cream of the crop is starting to kind of separate and rise, And if you look at it in both conferences, I want to start with the West, Mario. Yeah. Certainly our rise has helped, winning 5 straight in MLS helps. You vaulting up the table. That's half the points we've gotten all year in the last 5 games. We're at 30 points. Second in the West. RSL's ridiculous. 2 losses only.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. What are they, unbeaten in like 12 straight or something like that? It's absurd. But they have a game in hand. We have a game in hand on them. So
we do.
Right there. 33 points for RSL, 30 for LAFC. Minnesota, very strong, 8-3-4 record. They're on 28. And the Galaxy, as we said, still just their 3rd loss. They've drawn maybe more games than they want, but 7-3-7, right? Now, Vancouver's only about 3 points back. Austin, though, then at 23 points. Houston's been struggling at Colorado, 22. Portland at 20. There's a big drop-off from the first 3 or 4 teams in the West, in my opinion. And maybe Vancouver could kind of get back. Do you agree with that, Mario? Are we starting to see the separation that maybe holds true the rest of the season?
Yeah, we are. We're starting to see that separation for sure. And as good as LAFC is playing, how much longer will RSL keep this pace up? Because it doesn't seem like they're going to be stopping anytime soon. They had 5 goals in their win over Austin FC, and they're just 2 points behind Inter Miami for the Supporter Shield. And Chicho, he keeps on cooking. He's not stopping anytime soon. He got a hat trick over the weekend with one of the best goals that I've ever seen in MLS. That was like 60-yard blast over keeper Brad Stuver.
Yep.
And what was Brad Stuver doing though? He's he's at the top of the box, and Chicho's got him in the corner of his eye and just blasted.
Yeah,
right on target there.
There's somebody I like to read at MLSsoccer.com a lot, Matt Doyle. Right? I mean, I read Matt Doyle. You see him on the MLS Season Pass too. He had a great point though. In that play, Chicho never looked like he looked. He never faked like he was looking at the keeper at all during the whole buildup. It just was like
he had it in the corner of his eye.
Yeah, but he didn't make he wasn't like even maybe.
It was almost like he was going to go for a pass.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, Stuver gets caught out. It's embarrassing, but Hugo Lloris nearly got caught out by Peter Musa that way. He makes the save, right? Lloris is kind of senses it quick enough and makes the good play on it. But again,
I think Lloris knew where he was at, and I think he could time it. If he had to go back, he could time it on the run. And I think he did it just perfectly. It might have looked dangerous, but I think he timed it and he knew where he was at.
No, I mean,
but Stuver was out of position.
There's a lot of keepers that could still punch that in the back of their net. Lloris still had a lot of work to do to knock it over the bar, and and he did it. He was fine. I mean, he was probably in more control than just about anybody would be in that situation, Hugo Lloris. And Stuver's a fine keeper. He makes a lot of big saves. So I'm not blaming him for the 5-1 loss. It's just, that play, the cool thing was that Chicho doesn't let you think he's even going to do it. Like it's so far, he's so far ahead, like 3 more goals, another assist. It's just
25 goal contributions this season from Chicho. That's massive.
But here's the thing, Mario, and I'm not just saying this because we are black and gold, right? It's LAFC plus. RSL is playing their guts out.
Yeah,
they're great.
Are they peaking? Are they peaking too soon? I mean, it's a long season.
Yes, not only that, they're only 3 points ahead of us. We got a game in hand. Like they are on fire.
Yeah.
And we're doing it quietly. We're on fire too. Like we are red hot.
But that's what winning does, right?
Everybody's like RSL, because they're at the top of the table. But they have a game. Like they've played one more game, and we're 3 points back now. And they beat us in that garbage, they beat us in that garbage snowstorm. I'm sorry. Should have been canceled.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I will never forgive that or forget it because the next week, MLS cancels a game with rain in Philly.
Right.
Like it was no big deal. Like, and nobody said a thing. Like, well, of course we're going to cancel this match and postpone. What? It was a week later. And everybody was ripping on LAFC for even bringing it. It's just such hypocrisy. But anyway. Yeah. And full credit to RSL. They deserve it. They are red hot. But man, I mean, LAFC, Minnesota, only 3 losses, playing great. Minnesota has 2 games in hand on RSL and are only 6 points back, 5 points back. So technically, Minnesota with a game in hand on LAFC and only 2 points. I mean, these teams are the class of the West. As we take a look at the East.
What's that say about Minnesota, though? Minnesota's dominant win, right? 3-1 win over Sporting KC. Okay, great. But LAFC just shut out Minnesota a couple of games before that. And then you had Atlanta United, who just beat Inter Miami. Yeah. But LAFC before that beat Atlanta United. So these teams that are having big wins, LAFC just got done beating those guys too.
Yeah, and they were pretty comfortable, to be perfectly honest. So,
exactly. So it says a lot about LAFC.
I agree. Oh, absolutely. And that's what I mean. Like, as hot as RSL is, we're just slow and steady, Now, in fairness, people will look and say, well, LAFC's had 9 home games, just 7 on the road. As Mario said, we've got a couple of road games coming up that will even that out. So big games coming up, no doubt. And we'll talk more about this break and how that might affect it. But as we look at the East, I think it's the same thing, Mario. You have Miami and Cincinnati who are going to be in the race for the supporter shield with who's ever at the top of the West, probably us and RSL. Likely the whole rest of the year. Those 2 teams are phenomenal. NYCFC, They had a little bump in the road early in the season. They are playing great right now, up to 29 points. Red Bulls, New York, right? I mean, both on 29 points. I looked at it. LAFC and the Galaxy. You got Los Angeles on the West Coast, East Coast. Both combinations of teams have 58 points. Both combinations.
Major markets to have both teams playing well. That's pretty good for the league, yeah.
LAFC, second in the West. LA Galaxy, fourth. New York City, third in the East. Red Bulls, fourth. I mean, they're both
some huge potential playoff matches there down the line.
If you look at that conference, maybe Columbus, now that unfortunately their luck ran out in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, maybe they'll turn it around now. They've only lost twice this season. So now they'll really start focusing on MLS. They should shoot up. But Charlotte,
they will.
Even Toronto, Charlotte, Philly, Nashville, average, decent teams, could do some damage here and there. But are we seeing the same separation in the East in your estimation?
I think so, but I think it's closing. I think it's separated for a little bit with Miami and the start that they got, but I think it's closing down a little bit just because Miami's going to have a tough test here when they get back from international break because they're going to have to do it without Messi for about 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, at least.
It's going to be tough for them. And I don't know, Tata Martino, he's going to have his work cut out for him. They did bag 3 goals in their draw against St. Louis, but we've seen some obvious problems on the defensive side. Now, when you don't have Messi there to help that and even that out, that's a challenge.
Yeah, I agree. They're giving up 27 goals. I mean, the goal difference is ridiculous because they're scoring more than anyone by far, but they've allowed 27 in 18 matches. So you're giving up a goal and a half a game. That's not great. I don't care how good you are offensively. That can come back to sting you. And it has. And in fact, the last, the Wednesday, Saturday, they only picked up 1 point out of 6 at home. So
they had to score 3 goals to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Both, giving up 3 in both matches and only getting 1 point. So that's a bit of a rough ride. Cincinnati took it on the chin, though. They suffer a loss there. So to Nashville of all, so anything's possible in MLS, as we know. But I do think there is some separation. I wouldn't even say separation. I think we are starting to see who are really good and who are maybe decent, and can still do some damage here and there. With a tip of the cap to Columbus, I think they still will prove to be very, very good. That might be the one team that really makes a move here. Now that
what about Philadelphia, though, Dave? Philadelphia, they haven't won at home in 5 games.
1-4-3 at home, Mario. 1 win, 4 losses, and 3 draws at home. They're
still
better
in
on
the
the
mix.
road.
Still in the mix in the East, though. Yeah.
It's not that they're not decent or whatever, and they're scoring goals. To me, they have kind of this group has run its course. They're as good as they were ever going to be a couple of years ago. Certainly nearly won the cup against us, right? They could have easily won it that day. Let's be realistic. Just LAFC just had a little bit more. They're just not – they haven't really improved. They haven't made signings that have improved them. The guys are getting comfortable. Other guys have one eye maybe on somewhere else now. There's some been rumors flying around. Who knows how those things are going to kind of – and I think they just – to me, it looks like a team who kind of knows they can't win anymore. They can't win the big stuff. They're not
would
good
it be,
enough.
They need to freshen up the group or
absolutely.
Need a new voice
Nah, I mean, that's a good question. It is a fair question, and it does make a difference in sports. I'm not going to sit here and say, no, it's all about the players, or no, it's all on the manager.
Because Curtin is a great manager, right? We agree on that. Great manager.
Yeah, but maybe he needs to. Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but look, here's the thing about MLS too. Yeah, people talk about the salary cap. It's restrictive. You can make a lot of moves in MLS, right? You can get rid of people pretty easily if you have to. You can make moves and bring people in if you have to. Philadelphia hasn't been willing all the time to really freshen up the roster as much as maybe they could. Now, you can argue that that's some loyalty or whatever, and fine. They've been a great team. They're not great anymore. They're just not. It's not like I don't see this team ripping off 5 wins in a row. They're okay. I mean, I guess it's possible, but I'm not going to sit there and count them out in the playoffs because any given day, Andre Blake finds, 3 or 4 big saves in a situation. That can happen. Yeah. But do you really think they're a threat to beat, to win the Leagues Cup or win MLS Cup? No, No, I
They
don't
have a
think
tough
so.
stretch coming up too after the break here. They have
Yeah.
to face Inter Miami, FC Cincinnati, and Charlotte in the next 3 games when they return from this break.
I mean,
It's
dude,
tough.
look,
Yeah.
that's a good way to turn it around. If they get 3 wins,
Yeah.
then
That's a
Denholm,
good way
you're
to
an
look at
idiot.
it.
Okay. And that could be,
Yeah.
if they lose all
Right.
3, and then it could be like, oh no, here we go, down the table we
Mhm.
ride. But let's remember, though, a lot of people get in the MLS playoffs. A lot of teams get there. So you only got to be in the top 9, to give yourself a shot. So,
Yeah.
preferably you'd rather not have to play that first game or whatever. But that's where Philly is right now. They're in the 8th spot. They would host a
Mhm.
1-game knockout type of playoff. I'm sorry, the first little whatever, I guess, wild card match or whatever. Right now they would
Mhm.
host that, but they wouldn't be any big favorite at home. Like we said, they've got 6 points from 8 matches at home this year. They're dreadful
Yeah.
at home. So, but you want to see that turn around in a way. I love the fans of Philadelphia at that stadium in Chester. Like, great
Mhm.
stadium, great fans, Sons of Ben.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they deserve to have a better team than this, frankly. And we'll see.
Dave, as we're looking around the league, Dave, I want to do just a quick update on Reynoso, the Argentine over at Minnesota United. We've been talking about him
Yep.
over at Minnesota United, and he's had a number of unexcused absences over there over the last 2 years. He's only got 30 minutes of action in this season, and now he goes off to Xolos at Tijuana in Liga MX. And I bring this up because, we know how good of a player he is.
Sure.
And guess who LAFC will be playing in the League's Cup this summer? Xolos at Tijuana and Emmanuel Reynoso over there. So it's going to be cool. It's going to be something to look forward to in that group stage. And that'll be at BMO Stadium on July 26th.
I think he's a perfect fit for Xolos and Liga MX.
They're going to love him. They're going to love him.
So much talent. But, look, he's got to show up. He's got to play well.
Yeah.
He's got to play hard. I mean, we don't know that from him right now. He's all the talent in the world.
Yes.
There's no other Argentine in MLS besides Lionel Messi who's more talented. I'm sorry, and we have a lot of great ones, but Reynoso is, he's incredibly talented.
Yeah.
But it didn't always translate to stats. Now that doesn't always mean everything, right? But you look at a guy like that and you're like, oh, maybe he must have had years where he had 15 goals and 20 assists, and no, that just did not translate quite like. Now again, it could be the team or whatever, the style of play. He was maybe, who knows, maybe it wasn't a great fit that way. A great player though, and he'll fit right in, I think, in terms of the passion and what people expect, in terms of the talent down in Liga MX, which is a great league, and Xolos needs it. I mean, let's face it, they need that type of spark, if you will. I don't want to face him. I wish he didn't go to that. I wish he didn't go to Tijuana. If we're playing him in League's Cup, I'd rather not face him if we could help it. But it's still going to be a great game. I mean,
can't wait for League's Cup. Can't wait.
No doubt about it. No match until June 15th. We talked about that at Orlando. We'll be coming back. We got a little break. You got any break plans, Mario? We're going to be doing the show. Don't worry about that. We're going to be doing the show every week.
I don't like to stay idle, Dave, not even when we have these little breaks here. I mean, just yesterday, I was already shooting a music video for an upcoming song that I got coming out later on, probably in the summertime. So I'm always staying busy, but no huge plans. But I do have a bunch of graduations. I got nieces and cousins that are graduating, so I'll be happy to be able to attend those. So, but yeah, that's about it, Dave. Just maybe just a little quick getaway here or there, but nothing too far away. How about you, Dave? How are you going to enjoy this time off, this little break?
Yeah, we're doing a little traveling, I think, just get away for a little bit.
Nice.
Like you said, don't have a lot of these, opportunities in the season once it gets rolling. Oh, by the way, we've got some big things coming up for 710 ESPN. We're not going to say them now, Mario, right? We'll let
Indeed.
we'll let that simmer a bit, but you want to keep your eyes and ears on our social media or here on the show, here on LAFC Plus. Some big plans coming up, some fun times. And so we're going to be busy. So when you get a little opportunity, like just a weekend where LAFC doesn't have a game, I'm going to go take a little traveling. It's no soccer related activities or anything like that, other than LAFC Plus. We're back at this each week. So definitely a lot of fun. How does this affect the team, Mario? You've been asking that actually before we went to the break, in terms of even before the FC Dallas game. You were starting to kind of talk to, players and Steve Cherundolo in your role with LAFC and with the radio. How do you think this affects this team as hot as they are? It's a tough time to actually go on a break in a way.
Yeah, I asked Steve, I asked Hugo, I asked Ilie, I asked Eddie Segura. Like, the only thing stopping you guys, at the moment is going to be this break here. Does it come at a bad time? I've been asking them, maybe do you guys wish you guys could just keep playing and keep racking up those points? And everybody,
Sure.
all of them said, no, we need this break. We need the rest. The break is very welcome. We're going to take this time to re-energize the body and recuperate, and then we'll come back and we'll think about how we're going to continue this when we get back to playing again. So I think it's very welcome for the players, and rightfully so. They've been working very hard.
Yeah, because regular fans or people on the outside don't understand is win or lose, players have to just move on fast, right? So yes, they've been winning a lot lately, but they also know they've been playing a lot lately. So and then I looked at the schedule ahead. If anybody's wondering, 8 games now scheduled for July. 8. Now June is a little busy, but not the rest of the month. They got this break here. June will be fine. 8 games in July in 31 days. So do the math. They're going to be coming fast and furious. Now, of course, we got the end of that is like Leagues Cup, so it'll go right into there. Hopefully, we have plenty to play in August, but a lot of teams get a big break in August when they stink in the Leagues Cup. So let's hope that's not the case. Obviously, LAFC want to make a run in that too, but July is going to be jam-packed. This is a welcome break here to start June, I think, for everybody. Good stuff as always, Mario.
Enjoy it. Let's do it. Hey, let's do it.
Let's do it. That's episode 16 of LFC Plus in the books. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to LAFC's channel. If you're watching, or listening elsewhere in your favorite pod places, give us a thumbs up. Give us a good review. We really appreciate it. Mario, as always, great stuff, man.
Enjoy the time off. Dale black and gold. Let's go.